The city's alive. Clock strikes 12. We're ready to dive down the street where the neon hums. Our little escape. The workday succumbs. Tables wait. The bar's got that swing. Glasses clink. Hear the ice cubes sing. Liquid lunch. Pour it smooth. Let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass. Let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch. We're living for today. There's Troy laughing with his gin and a grin, telling stories about where he's been. Boomer's got whiskey, he's loosening his tie, chasing dreams under a midday sky. The bartender knows us, he's mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment we're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for the day. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. Sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. This bar's our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Salut and welcome. Welcome to, we've made it to the weekend eve, Friday Eve. It is Thankful Thursday. A lot of things to be thankful for. Really looking forward to hanging out with you today. Well, I guess I am every day. But let's jump into the saying hi to everybody. This time for sure, Big Al Presents is absolutely first. He will be sitting down with Netter and I suppose myself as Netter's co-host tonight on Thursday Things. Get to know this wonderful associate of ours, and of course tomorrow night we'll be watching a great. I don't know if you'd consider the movie itself to be classic, but it's definitely a classic tale that has been adapted to film many times. And you know what? Let's put a pin in that. We'll come back to that because that ties directly to our topic for the day. So hold on to that thought. Let's see. Who else have we got here today? Of course, my brother from another mother. Geek Flag with Nate Knows says, like, share, subscribe, comment, become a member. Yes, please. Those things are so important. And when a live stream starts, the share part of that is so crucial. Get the people in here. Let everyone know where we are. Make this appointment watching, in the middle of your workday. Get all your friends in here if at all possible. I am the love of her life. That's all I care about being in this world. She says like, share, subscribe, become a member, and leave a comment. Yes, please do all those things. Jonathan Conroy, you are as faithful as Gunga Din. Hail and smash the like button and enjoy the show. Jonathan Conroy is here at the beginning of every stream, saying hail, smash the like button. I don't know if you make it all the way through the stream or if you're just listening to it in the background, but I always see these comments of yours at the beginning of the show, and it's very, very encouraging to me, Jonathan. I really do appreciate it. John Doe Juggalo says, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to you, too. He's got a good channel, too. You should definitely check out if you get the chance. Yo Joe says, hello, guys. Hello, my friend. Good to see you as well. Connie Cleary, the bird woman of YouTube, Fluff Chick Productions. Wonderful Blue Wrench and longtime member of the channel. Hail, chat. I'll be in listening mode. Just got home from the doctor's appointment and some running around. Totally understand. Super appreciate it. We've got a lot of Blue Wrenches here, and I ask that you. We've had a pretty easy time on our Blue Wrenches for the most part. I ask you to be diligent because I know the trolls are out there. They are swarming. I probably already have 2 thumbs down on this video. So get ready. Just keep an eye on the comments and be ready, Blue Wrenches. I appreciate you all. Wilkie's Movies and Music. I just became a member of his channel last night during his live stream. And you guys should at least go check that out, subscribe, hit the notification bell over there. And if you like what he does, maybe become a member over there for as little as $2 a month. Great channel, worthy of support. Actually, all the channels that I consider to be within our sphere are definitely worth supporting. You got to support them, man, because the support doesn't come from anywhere else but you guys. AdSense, that's pennies. Endorsements, those don't come unless you're like, up in the thousands and thousands of followers range. That might be sometime in the future. So if I'm telling you to play League of Legends maybe someday, it's just me trying to earn a living here. But yeah, the support it comes from you guys. It's the only way we can keep doing what we do. PJ, Inspiration TV, also Orville Nation. PJ actually is kind of responsible for the topic we'll be talking about today. So I want to thank you so much for inspiring me. I mean, I wake up every Thursday is probably the easiest day to think of what topic I want. And this is a good thing. Thankful Thursday, it's easier to think about things that I'm thankful for than WTF Wednesday, things I want to rant about. It's like, there's so many things that I've ranted about in the past I just don't care about anymore. Doctor Who and Star Trek and stuff. It's like the Marvel thing. I talk about it because it's topical, but I just don't care anymore. It's like, I hope and wish and whatever, but I've stopped watching it because I don't care anymore. And that's exactly where these studios don't want us to be. Anyway, the point is, the positivity actually is coming easier to me, and that's not a bad thing. Mechpo! having a Mexican omelet made with jalapeno from the garden. Good. I am so glad to hear that. It's always better when you grow it yourself. Absolutely. Saying hi to each other. Always good. I pity the troll who messes with my brother. You should pity him, really. I was thinking about this the other day after talking with you and after what Gorilla's Random Thoughts had said in the chat. How miserable, right? You know, here I am thinking about things I'm thankful for to talk about on a Thursday afternoon with all of you guys. And he is regularly coming to my streams, not because he enjoys it, to hit the thumbs down button because he doesn't like me, because I disagreed with him about something once. What a miserable existence. What a miserable reason to exist. And then to go to your channel and then talk about other YouTubers you don't like. You know, when I talk about studios that I don't like Disney and so forth, it's not because I hate them and want to destroy them. It's because I hope that the vast zeitgeist of people will turn to them and say, get your act together. That the shareholders will say, this is what you used to do that people loved, that made money. Go do that again. You know? And withhold our money, not because we want to destroy them, but because we want them to realize they are in danger of being destroyed if they don't start doing things right. I want Disney to get its head out of its, proverbial ass. But some people just live for the negativity. They just love to hate. They're on the dark side, right? They're consumed by hatred. I am not a blue wrench. I identify with a blue Yes, of course. Of course. Thanks, Troy. You're right. It takes all of us to make it together. Glad I found this community. I am glad that you are here as well. Bone, haven't seen you in a while. Good to see ya. Welcome. Someone else I'm very thankful for is Bone. Never trying to get my attention. Naturally, I'm in a meeting, but I'm thankful on this Thursday for you. Thank you very much, sweetie. I appreciate you. VIP member, Lester Skeptic Tank Obsessions. See, it helps when I actually have it on the screen. Morning to all. West of EDT. There you go. There you go. Me and my monkey. Thankful that it's Thursday here. I am white and nerdy. Oh, a Weird Al reference. Oh, I love it. That's always good. Joe says, today there is another update for Brand New Day. Silver Samurai is being reported as main villain for Spider-Man Brand New Day, who, mind you, is a Wolverine villain. So add him with other guys. Do you understand how much the more characters they add, the more convoluted the story is going to be, the less character development there's going to be. And I'm sorry, you can get excited about those characters, but not in one movie. That's think about it this way. You like cake? You like ice cream? You like lasagna? Do you like a nice roast salmon? Do you like a cheeseburger? All of those things are really, really good things. And individually, they get your mouth watering. Now throw them all in a blender and whip it all up into a shake. Do you want to drink it? That's what happens with a lot of these movies. When a parent withholds your allowance because you did something wrong, it's not because they hate you. It is to teach you a lesson. Absolutely. That's absolutely right. And it's especially good if you tie it to teaching them how to handle their finances, right? If you receive an allowance and you're going and blowing it on chips and gym shoes and sunglasses and whatever, and then you have no money to go out on the weekend, you have no money for gas and so forth, I would withhold my kids' allowance and say, you know what? This is going to go into an interest-bearing account. And then you will come to me and tell me what you're thinking about spending it on. And when I see that you understand how finances work, because that's a positive and a negative, right? Negative because I can't buy the things I want, but then the weekend comes and I want to go out. Well, you got $300 sitting in your bank account. How much do you think you need? All of it? Okay. You won't have any more money until you accumulate more. But then they start to realize, okay, this is how it works, Oh, I'm sorry. I brought it up and didn't even read it. Apparently, the production designer outed the info. So we have Silver Samurai, Punisher, Hulk, Scorpion, Tarantula, Boomerang, Ramrod. Holy crap. You just can't shove. Okay, you know what? Hey, let's have a cameo appearance by Deadpool too. And what else can we get in there? Howard the Duck. Let's shove Howard the Duck in there too. Hey, Spider-Ham too. Why not? Close the register. How's that my fault? I told him to enjoy putting everything back as I left and went to Jewel. There you go. Exactly right. Either the radio jockey sounds like Netter or Netter sounds like she should be on the radio. Netter definitely has an incredible voice. And it's funny because if she put her mind to it, she could really do voice acting. That requires training, right? She'd have to get some training, but she's got the natural talent for it, because it's so funny. She could be having a conversation with me, maybe even she's getting angry with me, and she's getting, and then she'll answer the phone. Hello, how can I help you? And it's just a whole different tone that she changes, just like that. And it's like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. She's got that wonderful phone voice. Right now, she's done reception work and phone work for years, so she's got that voice down, and I do think that translates to broadcast. Would you call this broadcast? I don't know, but yeah, she's definitely got a great voice. I think some of these leaks about who's going to be in Spider-Man movie are misinformation designed to keep the plot from leaking out. That's probably true. There's also the element of, if they haven't started filming yet, they might be trying to decide on a script. So they're trying to see what characters people respond to most positively, too. But if all of those people are going to be in it, screw it. Short meeting since my boss's microphone blew out and we couldn't understand. Well, yeah, that'll do it, right? That'll do it. Let's see here. The importance of good equipment. Yes. Good equipment. Hey, Troy, we could discuss about Brand New Day today as you did with Fantastic Four yesterday. What say? Nope. Got another topic planned. If you want us to jump into Brand New Day, bring it up on. Well, if I think about it on Monday, we'll hit it on Monday, but definitely Tuesday. Tuesday is definitely the day to lead me off topic, because there is no real topic on a Tuesday. Tuesday is the topic is yours. I believe they started filming already in Europe. Okay, well, if they've already started filming, I hope they friggin' have a script. Anyway, let's go all the way back to Come on. Why will this thing not let me scroll back up? There we go. So the original thing that I was talking about, we were talking Big Al. Big Al's, and we'll get to the promos in a little bit, but he's got a movie lined up for well, actually he does themes with his rewatches. So the month of June of August is Jane Austen August. And so this Saturday we'll be watching specifically the version of Emma, starring Gwyneth Paltrow. And Jane Austen is a classic writer. She wrote near the turn of the previous century, and the literature of that era is what we derive our whole idea about that era from. Jane Austen, and even you go a little bit more towards the Gothic, and you start thinking Mary Shelley and stuff like that. These period pieces that we love so much are because of the writers who wrote in the period preserved a keyhole look into what life was like at that time. Admittedly, for a particular socioeconomic class, we do tend to romanticize those eras, whether or not they're 100% historically accurate. Our impression of what they wrote at the time is probably 100% historically accurate, but like I said, it's like looking through a keyhole. So there's a lot of context we miss, but it's what we have. And why are there so many, film adaptations of Emma? Well, for one thing, it's in the public domain. You don't have to pay somebody any royalties, to make a movie about Emma, right? Now, if you look at the writers on that film, you get Jane Austen. They still credit her, right? Because they're using her name to market this film, and a scriptwriter. And the scriptwriter takes it and turns it into something filmable. That's the guy that makes the changes, and if you don't like some change that was made, well, it's his fault, But I've often said that there is a great wealth of entertainment out there. We could moan and complain about the MCU and the things that we don't like coming out right now, or that we kind of like, but it's not as good as it should have been. It's not as good as it was, right? We want it to be better. But there is more entertainment available to you right now than you could possibly consume in your whole lifetime. If you take into account all of the literature that we have access to. Heck, if you just consider all of the literature that's available to you that exists in the public domain because it exists before copyright law. You could be reading, if you were to read 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the rest of your life, if that was possible, you would not be able to read it all. The movies that are available to you that are in the public domain, I don't know if you could watch them on a continuous loop for the rest of your life, if you'd be able to watch them all. And I'm talking about stuff that's easily accessible on the internet. And I don't even mean going to the high seas. I mean internet archives, perfectly legally available because they are in the public domain. Absolutely worth it. And you'd be surprised. There is a certain mentality, and I've been there too. If it's old, it's boring. If it's old, it's not as good as what's new, right? But How I Met Your Mother did that. Barney was talking about newer is better. Newer is always better. Now, anybody who really thinks about it knows that that's not always true, right? Sometimes you think about appliances that were built to last, that were solid, as opposed to the cheap, last you for 6 months and then you're buying a new one, right? Wines and spirits, whiskey, bourbon, newer is usually not better. Aging brings a great deal of goodness to it. And that's what they focused on. That was the example. He's like, oh, really? Newer is always better. New wine is always better. And then he orders the new wine and makes Barney drink it, and he's got to pretend that it's the best thing ever. Now, okay, there's a downside to this. You could argue that we tend to get nostalgic and look at older stuff through rose-colored glasses, right? Sometimes they're not as good as you remember them. I've talked about this many times with, I'll watch Speed Racer, for example, or what was that Japanese Spectre Man? Spectre Man, do you remember Spectre Man? And just the other day, poor Netter, I subjected her to, started watching the first few episodes of Electra Woman and Dyna Girl. I had wonderful memory of all of those as a kid. I loved those. I got an episode and a half into Electra Woman and Dyna Girl, and I was like, I can't. I just can't. I looked, how many more episodes are there? I can't do this. I can't. It was better in my memory. But then there's a lot of things like some of the entertainment we're going to get to right after the promos. We'll talk more about them. I'll give you a couple of examples where never heard of it before, hadn't seen it before, or whatever the case is. Oh, you should check this out. It's a classic. And I watch it, and it's just enchanting. And it's like, they should release this at the theaters. Even if it's a re-release, the studio owns it. They could do that. And I know they do that with some stuff. There's a number of them that I want to talk about. And in so doing, I want to promote another channel with their video that actually was recommended to me this morning by PJ over at Inspiration TV that inspired me to talk about this topic today. So let me run the promos. I'll get back to your comments, and then we'll get on with some of those film recommendations. Be right back in just under 3 minutes.
You are watching Liquid Lunch, streaming every weekday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's sip together.
This Thursday night, Netter sits down with the guy who created the 10-word review, Big Al of Big Al Presents. You probably know him and his channel, but if not, you should, and here's your chance. This Thursday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern, on Netter's Network.
This week on Saturday Night at the Movies, while matchmaking for friends and neighbors, a young 19th century English woman nearly misses her own chance at love. Cupid is armed and dangerous. Big Al presents Gwyneth Paltrow in Jane Austen's Emma, this week on Films with Friends. Saturday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
Every Sunday evening, Aged Boomer and Papa Pacelli bring you the rundown of the week's geek news, or at least what they think is interesting. You may have heard about it somewhere else, but Boomer and Pacelli put a spin on it you likely won't hear anywhere else. It's Geeky Geezers, every Sunday evening at 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
Sean and Gus receive a mysterious email inviting them to the Cinnamon Festival in Dual Spires, a quirky town that's nearly invisible on a map in this homage to Twin Peaks. We'll revisit this funny parody and go behind the scenes of its production next time on Live from Sparkwood and 21, this Tuesday at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern on Deleted Scenes and Affiliates.
The Xenon-based security systems have locked down the Scorpio, effectively stranding our heroes. The computerized lock leading to the launch silo can only be opened by Avon, who has his hands full after becoming enmeshed in a war between local tribes. And if that wasn't bad enough, there's a weapon counting down inside the launch silo, threatening to release its nuclear power. This week on Last Call presents Blake's 7. Tuesday at 10 p.m. Central.
We now return to our liquid lunch.
I want to welcome the Horror King. Thank you so much for being here today, my friend. Nate, Nate says Netflix has made a Pride and Prejudice movie for their streaming service with a diverse cast. One of the women is now being played by a very large Samoan woman, and one of the male characters is black. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. If you want diversity in your output, are you telling me there are no stories that you could tell that would be set, in Hawaii or something like that? A historical piece, that you could cast all Samoan people if you want to. I mean, do black people have no stories that can be told throughout history? Really? You've got to tokenize them? That's always been my problem. Let's see here. Big Al wanted to comment on Electro Woman and Dyna Girl fighting off evil deeds. Each works for a magazine hiding the life she leads. Yes, he remembers the theme song. It was a snappy little theme song. I believe it had some of the same people working on it as the Adam West Batman. So it had that same sort of vibe, which of course is why the child audience at the time responded to it so well. The problem with it was that the lore, there was no lore for it to draw on. It was making it up on its own, and it didn't make a great deal of sense. Yes, you could argue the same thing about Batman, but they weren't pulling it out of the ether. It all made a kind of internal sense because it had a certain framework to work in. Electro Woman and Dyna Girl, not so much. So anyway, what I wanted to bring up is please check out in the description below. I have, in fact, let me check out the description below. Doomcock has a new channel. It is at Pop Culture. Let me make sure I get this right. Pop Culture KO, all one word, at Pop Culture KO here on YouTube. It's basically Harvey Cthulhu's channel. Kind of a spin-off channel. And this particular video is called Classic Films to Make You Feel Good, a Pop Culture KO list, and it's one of those top 10 lists that people do, and he's going back and looking at just great films that if you've never seen them, why not? You should. And he's got a lot of them on there that we've either done rewatches of or talked about or whatever the case is. I remember some very obvious ones like the Blues Brothers and Ghostbusters and Raiders of the Lost Ark. Those, You don't even need to think too hard to come up with those. But there's a couple on there, and two of them I want to bring up very specifically, because it's a perfect example of what I'm thinking about in this particular area. The first is a movie that I know I saw as a kid. I've talked about this, on various streams. Growing up in the Chicagoland area, there was a show called Family Classics. It was out of WGN Studios, originally hosted by Fraser Thomas. Most people know him as the what's it called in the circus, the dude that announces and tells you what's coming up, the host of the circus, the guy in the red jacket and the hat, and children of all ages, and Fraser Thomas of Bozo Circus. Well, he had his own show called Family Classics, where he would sit in a Ringmaster. That's the word I was thinking of. Well, Ringmaster Ned actually came before Fraser Thomas. But there was Ringmaster Ned, and then when he retired, Fraser Thomas took over. And I think most people of our generation remember Fraser Thomas before they remember Ringmaster Ned. Anyway, Fraser Thomas had a show called Family Classics, where he would come into a study. It was a set. I've seen the set at WGN Studios, but it had like the bookshelf, and it looked very kind of posh a little bit, kind of like a sitting room or whatever, a study, and there was these books on the shelf. And they were mock-ups because they would change the spines for whatever, book they needed to do. And then they would have these really nice leather covers, and it was for the movie that they were doing. And, that's where I saw things. I saw a lot of the Sinbad movies, a lot of those Ray Harryhausen films. What was... a lot of the holiday films were shown on Family Classics, and a lot of the great comedies and musicals of the day, of my parents' generation, and one of the ones I remember seeing on Family Classics was a film called The Court Jester with Danny Kaye. You kind of get the idea, the look of the film if you see like Errol Flynn's Robin Hood. They probably used a lot of the same costumes and whatnot, but it was Danny Kaye, so there's music, there's a lot. It's definitely a comedy. It kind of plays around with those historical epics and the tropes of them. Fairy tales, a lot of wink and a nod jokes, from fairy tales and whatnot. In a way, it was almost the Shrek of its day, I think in a lot of ways. Wonderful movie, and seriously, if you've never seen a Danny Kaye film, any Danny Kaye film, I would recommend. As long as we're on the topic of musicals, another Danny Kaye film, not that he was the star of it, he was the co-star, is Singing in the Rain. Debbie Reynolds and Gene Kelly. Of course, Debbie Reynolds, Carrie Fisher's mom, right? Princess Leia's mom. Definitely another one that's definitely worth checking out. If you're the type that's like, I don't like musicals, what kind? There's different kinds of musicals. Musicals are as diverse and varying in style as, any other kind of film. I mean, I like sci-fi. Well, there's a lot of different kinds of sci-fi. You like time travel films. You like alien films. You like technology films. You like let's face it, Alien and War Games are both sci-fi films, but they're both very different feel and story. They're almost not even the same kind of movie at all. Even Star Wars and Star Trek, very, very different. Although sometimes they try to emulate each other, they really shouldn't because they're very, very different. And musicals are the same way. And I would say something like Singing in the Rain, very, very different from, say, Phantom of the Opera or Cats. Anyway, just my thought on it. Real quick, let me get caught up on what you guys are saying. Guess what? I bought a CIB Game Boy SP for $145. That's cool. That's cool. Geek Flag with Nate Knows says, or they could take something from old literature and make a modern version of it, basically using the same story, but set in the morning time instead of making the modern time. He probably meant of making historically inaccurate TV shows. So that is another genre of adaptation, right? So you can take a Jane Austen story and tell it as accurately to the period and the story as possible, as if you were Jane Austen seeing it through her eyes, right? Or you could take the same characters and story points and put them in a modern setting. I'm trying to think. There's a lot of good films that have done that. What was that one with Sarah Michelle Gellar? It was based on Dangerous Liaisons, but it takes Dangerous Liaisons and moves it into not only a modern setting, but with in the United States, right? In California, as opposed to, Renaissance era France, right? So Cruel Intentions. That's what it was. Cruel Intentions. Thank you, Big Al. I should have known you'd have my back on that one. That's a great one. That's a great one. Then if you want your diverse cast, no big deal. It's as diverse as the location you're setting in. You set it in Southern California, that could be pretty diverse, right? Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips. Want to say hi to you. Another great channel. Check him out and subscribe. He's got multiple channels here on YouTube, as well as the Green Machine over there on the Rumbles. Family Classics, Garfield Goose. That was another one. Garfield Goose was a kids show that he did. And of course, Garfield Goose occasionally made guest appearances on Bozo's Circus as well. That's true. The pellet with the poisons in the vessel with the pestle. The chalice from the palace has the brew that is true. Oh, you're referencing the court jester. Yeah, some great quotes. Great quotes. In fact, speaking of great quotes, let me get to Animal Crackers from 1930. That is the Marx Brothers. Now, I'll tell you, this is one of those movies where, you couldn't show this movie today because there's some offensive stereotypes depicted in it. The story the story is about a legendary explorer named Captain Spaulding. This is where Captain Spaulding originally comes from. Before he turned into a crazed, murderous clown, he was a Groucho character who went exploring all over the world, including darkest Africa. Oh, are we allowed to say that these days? Darkest had nothing to do with skin color, by the way. It had to do with the fact that the more you got into Central Africa, the less sunlight got there because the vegetation gets denser and denser. Darkest Africa meaning we can't see into it and we don't know what's there. We have to go explore it. And of course he comes back bringing the treasures and artifacts that he has found, which I suppose would now be considered cultural appropriation. And the people carrying them are natives of the lands that he visited, portrayed in a very, I suppose, stereotypical way for the time. So that all of them would be canceled these days. But that is a very small part of the story. The main part of the story is a big social party going on, and the Marx Brothers, pulling their shenanigans at this party. Groucho being one of the, headline guests, but he's just a big goofball. He doesn't take any of it seriously, and it's very, very funny. And so here's an example where I kind of understand people where they say, I don't like musicals. Not that Animal Crackers is a musical, but it's a film of its time, and that's there's no negative connotation to that in this instance. In the 30s, sound pictures, with soundtracks, dialogue, and so forth, talkies, so to speak, were relatively new, and they were still kind of playing out what they wanted to do with them. And Animal Crackers is a great example because it should be just a straight narrative story, albeit a comedy with a lot of comic gags throughout it. But they do something that they did back in the 30s where they'll interrupt the flow of the narrative for just a musical number. And it's not like, a choreographed thing where the story's still happening and you're following people along with the song. No. It's you sit down and you watch a band or you watch a singer as they do the music. And if it's not your kind of music, it can be kind of boring. I will admit, I have watched some of these movies and fast-forwarded through those. I just have. I maybe I'm an uncultured swine, but, I have, because I just wanted to get to the funny Marx Brothers stuff, right? But anyway, so definitely worth checking out. I would highly recommend it. The real reason why they don't do that, Troy, is because they are literally trying to rewrite history. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And we can't allow it. That's why we got to keep, pointing it out and making fun of them and memeing them, because that's how, history looks back, and they will either see those examples and have a skewed view of history because that's how it's portrayed, or they will look back at history and see all the memes of this being made fun of and say, what a weird era. They were clearly trying to rewrite history, And I point that out as an amateur historian who looks back at stuff and says, there's a lot of things you believe about history that aren't true. You're believing the historic fake news. Like, for example, I brought up Dracula last week, and I was pointing out how in Romania he was heralded as a hero. To this day, he was a hero. He literally saved Western society from the Turkish invasion. I have drawn parallels between the campaigns of Vlad Tepes with the Greeks at the Battle of Thermopylae. The 300 Spartans and all the other Greeks that were there with them. The Athenians had a big role to play in the naval battle. That shouldn't be forgotten. But those were key moments in history that prevented one society from invading another. And if it hadn't happened, history would have gone completely different. Well, anyway, this is a stretch, so don't get too literal with this comparison. But in a lot of ways, Vlad Tepes was the Donald Trump of his day. There was a lot of people in power that hated him and wanted to vilify him, and they published all sorts of negative things about him. So a lot of that stuff that you get, albeit possibly based on some truth, was definitely exaggerated or made up from whole cloth. Did he put his enemies up on pikes as a deterrent and as an example? Yes, he absolutely did. And they died in horrific ways. But did he have banquets sitting amongst those rotting corpses and drink their blood from a skull? No, he probably didn't. The only mention that we have of that comes from pamphlets that were put out by his enemies. The fake news of its day. So if you're going to be looking at history, remember, there's nothing new under heaven. All the fake news that you see today, it happened hundreds of years ago as well. And it's still happening today. So yeah, don't let them do that to you. Don't let them do that to you. Mortar and pestle, still used today in some pharmacies. Absolutely true. Still used today in some houses, including my own. Wasn't it more like 1,000 Spartans, but still an incredibly small number in comparison to enemy forces? No, I mean, it started out as more, that's true, but the specific portion of the battle they're talking about, holding that pass, not 100% historically accurate, but for broad points, check out the movie The 300. When King Leonidas sends all but 300 Spartans back home. Why? Ultimately, we know we can't win here. We won't be able to hold this forever. We will make it as costly for them to get through this pass as possible. You need to get back and prepare to defend the homeland. But it wasn't just the Spartans. There was the Thespians, and there was, I don't know, at least a couple other city-states in Greece that sent troops, and they were all sent back to fortify to tell the cities, prepare, this is what's coming, and to start setting up fortifications. But yeah, it was about 300 Spartans and some other stragglers that held at the end of the Battle of Thermopylae. That's what you're usually focusing on. That was probably pretty accurate. But then what's even more interesting is the Athenians and the naval battle, which prevented Xerxes from getting reinforcement troops, lost all of his supplies. Now, keep in mind, too, yes, the Athenians were very instrumental in that battle, but you know what else was very instrumental in that battle? As is often true in naval battles, the weather. One could argue that God was on the side of Greece because he had plans for Western society. At least that's the way I tend to look at it. Right now in the UK, they're trying to say that the Anglo-Saxons didn't exist, and I'm not kidding. Yeah, I know, revisionist history. It's absolutely true. Vlad the Impaler sounds very Klingon. Yes, he does. That's exactly the kinds of things that inspire modern writers. So they tried to control the flow of information even back then. Who knew? Yes. Any Egyptologist will tell you that after one pharaoh died and another one took over, very oftentimes they would try to erase the previous pharaoh from history by destroying monuments, by carving up, tombs and stuff. That's why to this day there are some places where we found a tomb, we think it contained a pharaoh, we don't know who it was or exactly when it's from, because they destroyed the evidence that would tell us. So it can be very effective. So yeah, it absolutely does happen, and this is where the whole adage, history is written by the victors, comes from. Information is a constant battle. You gotta fight. That's why it's incredible living in this information age. We have so much information available to us. So this is why I say there is so much entertainment available to us right now, whether it's streaming services or simply, downloads. Again, a lot of it being absolutely free because it's in the public domain. So if you are kind of at a loss for what to watch or what to read, you want some new story, or at least new to you, look to the past. Boomer and I just spent 3 weeks talking about just 1 year, 1985, talking about films. But we're talking over 100 years of film that you can enjoy, and hundreds of years of literature that you can enjoy, without once even having to look at a film from 2020 and later. Not saying there aren't great films that have been done since 2020. I'm just saying not as many. And you're missing some really great stuff if you don't look back. So that's what I'm thankful for today, as well as being thankful for all of you. Please check out the I want to say the Doomcock video, which technically it is, but the Pop Culture KO video linked below. This is Doomcock's new channel, so make sure you subscribe to it and hit that notification bell. And check out that video and hit the like button on that too. He's trying to promote the numbers on that particular video because it will drive engagement on that new channel. So please do that. And that's all I got, guys. If you come back and you're seeing this on the rewatch, drop a comment below. Tell me what you're thankful for today on Thankful Thursday. Tomorrow, Friday, I'll tell you what I'm sipping on Friday night when we talk about Tim Burton's Batman. You guys take care. You guys are wonderful, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
Here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high